What is up? Welcome to the NBA Rundown, brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. I'm your host, Astaire, joined today by Tyler Hicks and Travis Mangone. Travis, how did the weekend treat you?
Good. Fun weekend. Nothing too crazy. I mean, NFL wasn't the best, but hey, you can't win every single week. So, but NBA wasn't bad, and excited to be here to break down a nice little 3-game slate. And I don't know. I mean, I love injury news and stuff, but I've been kind of excited for some slower slates where it's not too hectic. So I think we're gonna have one of those on tap right now too, as well. Spread.
Yeah, I'm running a little late today. Feeling a little under the weather, but I'm pulling things up right now. Pretty clean game there in New York. Golden State, Dallas, pretty clean. And then Clippers and Portland is just a sea of red. Tyler, was able to watch some of those games last night, though. However, boy, a little disappointed in the Utah Jazz. We were talking about that right before we came on. Without Conley, they might not be a good team. So something we'll have to adjust there. And then, real close on that Pistons RPB tag, right? We had plus 7.5. They lose by 8. So that was a rough one. What did you see in the games last night?
Yeah, I mean, I caught the end of that Lakers game. I was watching most of the football game. I had to watch us get the Najee Harris props home spread. We got his anytime touchdown. We got the first touchdown. We got the touchdown in the win. They all came home. So it was nice to get those home before he limped to the locker room and didn't come back and killed all my lineups. But as for the basketball, that Lakers game, I mean, they blew a 17-point lead. The Pacers were able to draw they didn't draw many fouls. Benny was able to hit some threes. In that last play, they double-team Halliburton, and the court vision by him is just ridiculous. He steps back out of that, finds Nemrod for that three, and he just absolutely hits it right in LeBron's face for the win. So that was always nice to see. Right after the Lakers say they're 1 or 2 players away from being championship contenders, they get hit with a reality shot like that.
Have you seen in the last 3 games, Halliburton has 40 assists and 0 turnovers.
Yep, yeah, first player to ever do that.
Yeah, so another great trade there from the Sacramento Kings. Let's jump into tonight. Travis, the first game we have up is the New York Knicks minus 4.5 in Detroit, taking on the Pistons. Total 226. I said it earlier. Fairly clean report, although we do have some Q tags here. Emmanuel quickly, Isaiah Stewart's probable, Bojan Bogdanovic questionable, Marvin Bagley questionable, and Jaden Ivey questionable. So I guess actually this is a wait for the news style of game. Start with you, Travis. How are you approaching this game and all these Q tags here that could obviously provide some value if those guys do sit?
Yeah, I mean, it's the Pistons, right? This Pistons aren't this team where if these guys are out, right, you're like, oh, I need to jam them in. Now, there are some guys that we have seen that are getting more prominent roles, but you have Isaiah Stewart back, so that kind of hurts some things. Listen, the Pistons are not jamming guys for me. When I run stuff right now, I'm not getting really any Pistons. And obviously, if the news hits, yes, it could change some of the opinion. So I'll wait for the news to figure out what to do with the Pistons. It's really hard to give a breakdown of how to handle them without that. The good news to talk about, spread, is they are playing the Knicks, right? And the Knicks are not a good defensive team. So we shouldn't completely overlook them. We shouldn't just write them off. We need to see how the news kind of breaks down. Obviously, if Bogdanovic happened to be out, that's a lot of usage there that could be going other people's ways.
Same with Ivy, right? I mean, that's the 2 highest usage guys on the team right now, isn't it?
Yeah, to be fair, though, so I've projection-wise, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I guess you can count. I guess they're projected 11. I mean, some of these guys are projected, right? Is Corey Joseph in or out? And Rodney Magruder, those guys still play and steal some minutes. So this Pistons team won't just be an 8-man rotation. That's one of the kind of things you run into. And the price tags are elevated. Killian Hayes is 6'3". Alec Burks 5'1", a little bit of a revenge game spread. Yeah, we got the Alec Burks revenge on the schedule tonight. Duran and I guess Durant, if he started at 3.8, that would be kind of enticing. But, man, I need news to hit to really understand how to tackle this situation. That's one of the things that you run into here. The Pistons are not good against big men, so you can make an argument for a Mitchell Robinson here on this slate. Center's not the best position today. It's also not the worst. I think the worst position is the forward spot when it comes to spend ups, but you do have a lot of value at the forward position, which naturally is going to force you to spend at spots, right? Because you have all this Clippers value at small forward. You might be spending up more at your center spot where you might not need to get to a Mitchell Robinson. And we have some really good guard options as well that we'll get to. So Jalen Brunson, 7-7. That feels aggressive of a price tag. But, I mean, on this slate, if he's like a last guy in, I don't hate it. I do think, though, that Julius Randle might be better than Jalen Brunson today. Not because I just like the player. It's the positions, right? Being able to roster him at the power forward spot could have a little bit of value here because, again, there's no spend-up power forwards that you can get to. I mean, just go sort by the forward position. Who are the spend-ups on this slate? Paul George is 9-4. Then it's Julius Randle at 8K. That is one reason why you might get to Julius Randle more than most slates. So the only two spends above, I'd say the only two spends above 8-1 are Curry and Luka today. Like, that's like crazy to think. Typically, you have way more options to pick from, and there's a very big gap between them, right? Curry is 10-7 and Luka's 12-6. So a lot of people might land on like the gap between a Curry and Luka might be really large today because of the because of how the construction is set up, because that $2,000 could matter a ton and could make Luka a lot more contrarian. But overall, I think Randle is probably the best play in this game because of how the forward position is designed on this slate. If I had to pick on the Knicks side of the ball, of the three games, this is, I shouldn't say it's the least appealing, but it's the most appealing one is clearly going to be the Clippers and the Portland game. And then the next two games, which is the Warriors in Dallas and Detroit and the Knicks, those are the games that you're not as excited about, but the news is really going to dictate it. Because what if these Pistons are in, spread? If these Pistons are in, are we really playing many of them? How many Knicks do we really want to get to at their price tags? So overall, this game is getting tougher and tougher to kind of get your exposure to.
All right, Tyler, I'm plugging these in right now, but what are your thoughts here? Knicks laying 4.5 on the road. We definitely used to like playing the Pistons as home dogs, but in this current iteration of the team, I think it's kind of hard. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I mean, looking at their roster right now, there's still no K. All those guys are questionable. Isaiah Stewart should be back, so I don't hate playing some of his props when they pop up. They should be lower numbers, and he could definitely eat against this Knicks front court. This total does seem a bit low. I mean, they cleared 230 in both their matchups, but with the Detroit guys out, I want to leave their side out. The Knicks over 115.5 total points here spread. I think they're going to hit $120 against this team. The Detroit doesn't play much defense, and all their guys out, they're just going to put more role players on the floor that are just worse at defense. So give me the Knicks team total here, and I do think they win the game here.
Yeah, I actually have this game going under.
They've won the last 10 matchups between these two teams too. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I have this game going under, but as we talked about, if these guys are all out, I don't really know how much I could trust the projections on the Detroit side. I feel like the Knicks side is a lot easier, right? Because, I mean, does Quickly even mean a lot for the betting? I know that he matters in DFS, but do you think he means a lot to the team for betting?
No, I mean, I think they'll be all right. It'll just push more usage to Brunson, Randle, and then Rose gets a little bit more minutes at the backup guard spot. And that 10-game span, too, ththey're also 8-1-1 ATS against Detroit. And then their last 5 games in Detroit, they've won those also.
All right. So we'll wait for that on the props, of course. If you want to check those out, make sure you're a member of runpuresports.com. A lot of time when we wait for the news, those props Tyler doesn't put them out, but you'll grab them in the Discord. He'll send over the screenshot of what he's playing, and then, of course, we can all win. Travis, anything more on this game before we move on?
No, I mean, it's hard just to make that many opinions on this game without that Detroit news. And, like, these Knicks are going to be, like, the last guys in, right? When you fill out your values in that final game, like Brunson, Barrett, Randle, like, those 3 guys are going to be, like, the mixed and match guys throughout your lineups because of it. So, and – I mean, it's very early, right? But when I ran a lot of stuff, like I always like to talk about this, but like, man, you are getting, I mean, it's a game stack of like the Clippers and the Blazers, but for good reason, right? Like this is going to be a really good game to target, but we have some ways we can try and be different with it, I think, and try to find ways to take an advantage of the field. So I'm excited to kind of get to that game because that's where I'll be probably talking the most. Again, it's really the 4 Knicks that we talked about, and Brunson, Randle, Robinson, Barrett, and then we're waiting on Pistons news to really kind of analyze how to handle it.
All right, let's move on. The Golden State Warriors are minus 1.5 in Dallas, taking on the Mavericks in a game with a total of 228. Tyler, you know what? I was surprised when I was punching everything in. The Warriors have the third highest net rating in the Western Conference, which really surprised me. I think it's the seventh highest overall. And for as bad as they played, it really shows that when they do win, they win by a lot. Now, that might just illustrate that they're crushing the bad teams and then struggling against some of the better teams. So that's going to be an issue here tonight. Dallas Mavericks, obviously one of the better teams. And, of course, everyone's going to want to watch this one, Steph Curry versus Luka. Warriors laying 1.5 here. Tyler, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to be on your side here, spread. Give me the Warriors. We think Dallas is good, but I think Dallas is looking like how Denver looked the last couple of years. There is really no help for Luka on that team unless these role players get hot from three. Yes, they could, but I'm not banking on it. They're 1-12 ATS in their last 13, spread. I know we've seen this team go on stretches like this the last couple of years, then they bounce back, but I don't think the bounce back is right here. The Warriors on the road can be a bit sketchy, but basically out of pick them, I think they win this game. They won 4 of the last 5 matchups between these two, so I think they could limit Luka with Wiggins, and then their guards could take over and win the game.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I'm throwing in the projections right now. I definitely have the Dallas Mavericks having the advantage here, which doesn't surprise me because the road splits for the Warriors are so bad. Travis, from a DFS perspective, how are you approaching this game? And if you were to bet it, are you going to take the Warriors on the road? Always a scary proposition this early in the year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not excited about the Warriors on the road, but one thing I want to look this up on StatViews because you guys had me thinking. So let's put in Steph Curry's average DraftKings points on the road, and let's get the game logs. Let's see how he's done. I'm kind of curious. Let's see. So because the reason I think this is like, if you think about one reason I wanted to play him against the Rockets, so I was like, well, the Rockets I think can keep this game competitive. If you tell me Steph Curry's in a competitive game against the Rockets, like he's just going to go to the moon. So yeah, I think overall, this is a spot where Steph Curry on the road, they need him to perform, right? I mean, if he doesn't perform, they probably get absolutely dusted. So 52.75, 77.5, 74.25, 42, 57.75, 64.75, 49.5. Definitely more of a mixed bag, but he can show that ceiling. I'm definitely a big fan of Luka. I think he's someone that I want to play today. But one thing to note that I'm noticing when I run stuff is like Luka is the currently most popular play on most teams. Like most lineups are going Luka. And listen, I think Luka is a good play today. I'm a fan of him. I like Curry, but like I guess the point I'm getting at is if one guy's going to be, and the guy could be spread Astaire versus Tyler Hicks, right? It could be you two. One is 50% owned and the other one is like 10% owned. Now, I'm not saying that's what the gap will be. Ownership is something we got to kind of figure out later on in the day. But I think the ownership is more so going to be on Luka. That's what it seems like right now. And if it's double the ownership, let's say it's Luka at 50 and Curry at 25, which is what I'm currently seeing at this time, my lean is kind of going Curry, especially for the savings. And I also think it's going to give you a different construction from the field. It seems like most teams are going to go Luka instead. So at 1:14 Eastern, 11:14 Mountain Time where I'm at, I'm currently in tournaments team Curry over Luka. It pains me to say it because Luka won me, my best win this year was with Luka, but I'm just playing the math on it. It's just simple. That's the reason why. And one thing I think he's going to be able to do is he's going to be able to unlock, I think, the Curry setup. And when I ran stuff just now, I have one Curry or two Curry teams here on the ones that I ran. And let's see if it unlocks the guy I want in the next game. It does not unlock the guy I want in the next game, but I'll find a way to maybe make it work. But yeah, I think overall it's Curry over Luka for me right now, just because of ownership. Now, if it flips the other way, yeah, I'm definitely Luka over Curry. If it's split, just like the same exact ownership, my lean is Luka, I think, just because we have enough salary to be able to do that with all these like raw point plays. Like we have all these cheap values in this next game that we're going to discuss. Now let's talk about the other pieces in this game. Not a lot to like, right? You could make an argument though that if you do like a Steph Curry, you might like a Spencer Dinwiddie who's in the mid tier, right? A Christian Wood more in that mid tier, a Klay Thompson and Andrew Wiggins, just because of the construction. That might lead you to that a little bit more. For instance, when I click on a Steph Curry team, one of the guys that pops up is Jeremy Grant and Nurkic. You get both of them on your team. And that's because you're not going all the way up to someone like Luka. This other one that I have that has Curry, it is Julius Randle and it is Jalen Brunson, right? So that's like, it gets you like one more upgrade of like $2,000 that could be enticing for you. So that's kind of one of the things I noticed with the Curry teams and something that I'm definitely considering right now. The question is, which guy would it be? I don't know if it's going to be one of these guys from this game. It feels like it might be someone in the next game who I'll kind of get to. But overall, this is a game that I think you want to have some exposure to, but it's mainly to the stars. I don't want to get overexposed to this game. I also sometimes like the idea of when you have like two guys that are just elite like this, like Curry and Luka, on short game slates, you can just fade everyone else and kind of get away with it. I know Kevon Looney is popping a little bit. I kind of put him on my content for now. I might kind of take him off as we kind of get closer just because I don't like him that much as a play. But I think this is a game that you can kind of stay underweight on and be fine. But if you go overweight on this game, you will be different for sure if you find ways to jam these guys in here. But the problem is, yes, it's a 3-game slate. You want to find ways to be different. But the way to be different is not fading this late game. You have to play guys in this late game. The question will be, what is that number? That is going to be the most key thing. And I know we didn't talk that much about this game DFS-wise, but it's just the lame one. It's really Curry or Luka and trying to figure out what works best. I mean, the last game is going to be the game that we just talk about a million plays from and how to kind of make your team different.
Tyler, did you have props here in this Golden State game? Because they should be up right now, right? Because there's no news that we're waiting on in this game.
Yeah, we could take a look at some. I definitely like Curry's assist here, looking at his recent games against this team. He's put up 9, 10, and 7. You're getting that number at 6.5 at even money. So definitely like that there. Because if they do try and key on him on defense, force the ball out of his hand, we know he can find the open guys, and these guys will hit their shots. Definitely like his threes also is 4.5 plus 130. I like Luka's PRA because you're getting that right around 50. So that is definitely a bet for me. Yeah, 49.5.
Tyler, do you like any Christian Wood stuff? Just because like he's such an offensive like weapon that can put up so much. Like he could get 48 DK points in 22 minutes and no one would be surprised by that. You'd be like, wow, that was impressive, but you would not be surprised that he pulled that off. Is there anything there that's interesting? Because this is a good matchup, right? The Warriors have struggled against big men from the start of the year. I assume that continues here in this spot. I'm trying to look at like the rankings and see if they've gone down that much. I mean, on the season, it's dropped a little bit, and seems like they've gotten a little bit better. But yeah, I mean, in the last 7, they've definitely gotten better. I don't know who they've played. Maybe that is playing a factor of it. But
I can tell you, Minnesota was one of those teams.
Well, yeah, that's probably why. Because I mean, Gobert is just a trash can. But that entire T-Wolves team is just ruined. But Spread, that's okay. Spread, you keep waiting for that to work. It's gonna happen.
I mean, boy, that must be one of my biggest L's there. And I'm not alone. I have a lot of people that I network with that were high on the Timberwolves.
There's a lot of people that were high on that. And I could be looking like an idiot in June. I don't think I will be looking like an idiot in June, but I could be. We'll
Back
see.
to that Christian Wood thing. I do like his props tonight. I don't see any on FanDuel or DraftKings right now, though. I would want his threes over 1.5 because that's probably going to be plus money. His rebound should be right around 7 or 8.5 like that. And if you could find a double-double on him at plus money, definitely like that.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I kind of want to look at a little bit deeper too is like I just happen to look at like some teams, and again, it's so early, but I found one team that's like super unique that I really, really like, and it goes Wood and Luka on the same team. So one thing I want to like kind of dive deeper in is how much do they negatively correlate with each other. I think that's going to matter a little bit for sure, but Christian Wood is definitely going to be like kind of a contrarian center option today that like you shouldn't completely ignore. So, and again, news is going to be super important with that Pistons game because that could shoot in some interesting values. And another thing too, like just like with Christian Wood, like look at the start times today. Now this is kind of not your normal slate where you have a 7 o'clock game and 7:30 game. So they start at the normal times, and then you have to wait till 10 o'clock Eastern for Clippers and Portland. And that's where most of your plays are at. So why not take a chance on a Christian Wood at lower ownership and be like, let me gamble on Christian Wood. And if it works out, I can eat some more chalk. Or if it doesn't work out, now I can change some plays up, right? In these games that we'll get to. Instead of playing instead of playing like Nick Batum, go to Robert Covington for 100 less. Instead of Norman Powell, find a way to Marcus Morris, right? There are ways to make your lineup different and swap from the 60% guy to the 20% guy and take a shot on playing catch up. Or if you have the good option, let's say you get Christian Wood, drops 48 for you at 6.7K. Eat a lot of that good chalk and then just, hope for the best. That's obviously what you'd want to do in that spot. Maybe it's going from Nurkic to Grant or Grant to Nurkic. Like, these are things to look at for sure. I don't think people are going to think about enough today. So it's definitely something that's on my radar a bit. And I'm going to be curious to see how it kind of all plays out. But that's why I might take a chance on like a lower owned Curry instead, or a lower owned Wood. Maybe Luka ends up starting to come in lower owned, and then I take a chance on him. Maybe it's playing Luka because I just think he's the best play on the slate and best raw points guy, and then pairing it up with, I don't know, maybe it's like Mitchell Robinson or RJ Barrett, and one of those Knicks, and trying to get one of those 20% plays to kind of hit a little bit. So these are things you need to be looking at, I think, on this slate.
All right. Yeah. And let's get to the game that it sounds like you're going to have a lot of interest in. Like I said earlier, a lot of red here. Luke Kennard out. Kawhi still out. John Wall's out. Paul George is out. Damian Lillard's out. Oh, and Keon Johnson's out. Yeah, good to know there. So this game, we got all these people out. The Portland Trailblazers currently are laying 3.5. Portland Trailblazers minus 3.5, hosting the Los Angeles Clippers. A really low total here, Tyler, 211. We don't see 211s very often in this new version of the NBA. So it's, kind of surprising. And I guess it goes to something that Travis and Big T always say, the totals don't really matter that much. They're going to be targeting this game regardless of the fact that the total is 15 or 16 points lower than the first two games. Tyler, Blazers are laying 3.5. How are you approaching this one?
Yeah, I think it's Blazers or pass for me. I mean, I think I'm just going to take back Simons here. Him, Grant, Nurkic, I think will be the best three players on the floor. The Clippers are just running out their role player group again. Could they win the game and get hot from three? Yes, but I think Portland comes in. I like Simons over 28.5 points plus assist. I'm pulling up his recent game log now. I want to get back on his threes prop spread, but they took away the 3.5 from us, and now it's 4.5. And he doesn't really get up over that number. He's hit 4, 4, 4, 3, 4, 4, 5. So he hasn't really hit that 5 number much, so we can't go there. And the unders just juice too much to bet that. But looking at his points prop, 23.5, he's hit 38, 29, 20, 15 in his last 4. So you could definitely get there. And against this Clippers defense, I like that, even with the low total of 211.
All right. Travis, this is the game you said you had the most interest in. How do we approach this game?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not like, spitting some hot takes saying this is the game I have the most interest in, right? Like, everyone has the most interest in this game for good reason. It's the best game on the slate. We have a lot of injury news, obviously, in this game. We have it's no John Wall, right? No Paul George, no Kawhi Leonard. I know he's out for 2 more games. Just a lot of guys are out here. Spread, before we dive into this game, can we talk about Zubac's game? We got some time, right? Can we talk about Zubac dropping 31 and 29? I mean, that was absolutely nuts. And now he's 7K, and I don't think people are even going to play him that much. I didn't watch that game. It was on a Sunday. Do you think Zubac is just going to be an absolute monster now in this situation? Because I'm a big Zubac guy, but I do understand his floor can be a bit rough at times.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that was a one-time thing, me personally. I don't think that he's going to be sitting out here, giving Dennis Rodman rebound numbers over and over again. But at the same time, it wouldn't be that crazy if he were to continue to do it. I think with him, one of the issues is that the team likes to go small. So it's hard to gauge how much usage he's going to get every single night, because some nights he gets 30, 35. Other nights he only gets 18 to 20. But he's shown when he's out there he can get it done. Yeah,
on the flip side, the Blazers are willing to go small too, right? They are. Not saying they will. Nurkic's minutes have been better. 34, 38, 28, 32, 27. But those were matchups where the other teams were down to stay a little bigger, right? I mean, the Nets kind of went back to going bigger with Claxton. The Knicks are always down to be bigger. Cleveland, they're always big. Milwaukee, we understand that. Utah, they got all those big men there. So that could be part of the reason. Nurkic is an interesting guy, and we're going to go pretty much one by one on all these players because I think there's good talking points on a lot of them. Nurkic is someone, if he's higher owned, there are reasons to not play him because he has a very wide range of outcomes, right? Like if Nurkic, it's kind of like Jonas Valanciunas last night, not to put salt in the wound. I had him on a lot of teams. If Valanciunas went for 20 yesterday, I would not have been surprised like he did. And if he went for 60, I would not have been surprised. Just a very wide range of outcomes. It's just simple. That's how it is. So I think Nurkic is someone, if he has more ownership on a 3-game slate, I am going to think about it. I'm not saying I'm not going to play him, but it's something to think about for sure. Jeremy Grant, he's another interesting guy to discuss because I think he's going to get some ownership. He's at that 7.3K price tag. One reason he's going to get ownership is he's been playing pretty good, but he's a forward, and we just don't have as many forwards. And that's kind of one of the things that you are running into on this slate is he's one of those spend-ups that you are going to consider for sure. Same with Josh Hart. I think more people are going to play Grant than Josh Hart. Josh Hart's another one who's shown a pretty wide range of outcomes, but I do think he could fit this matchup pretty well. So like Josh Hart as well, Justice Winslow, he's just a guy that steals a lot of usage and spread it's a nice Justice Winslow revenge game, 4.7K. I like Winslow in this spot, but the guy I haven't talked about yet that I like that I don't think is going to get ownership much today is Anthony Simons. Now, the reason why he's currently not getting as much ownership is because the guard spot, right? Most people are playing Jalen Brunson. They're playing Luka. They're going Terrence Mann, Powell, all these other guards on this side of the ball. Dude, Anthony Simons has an insane ceiling. The guy is on. He is on. I like betting on him a little bit today. Maybe instead of doing the Luka, going Curry over Luka, maybe I just eat the Luka chalk and be different with my Anthony Simons play. I think that's an interesting way to go about it. So I like him a lot. Definitely someone that's in the conversation for me this week, or not this week, today. I'm coming off the NFL show from earlier, so I'm thinking it's week 13 or whatever it is. But I like Simons a lot. Definitely someone that I'm high on in tournaments, and I think just has so much upside and low ownership that I want to be playing. Let me see. Is there any other Portland guys I kind of missed that I could touch on? I think those are the key guys. Because you're not really looking at Eubanks and any of these other guys. Sharp, they're just not worth it. And there's really good value on the slate. If there wasn't good value, you could maybe make up your own value plays with punts, but I don't think that's the right idea on this one. Let's talk about the Clippers now. Norman Powell. So I'm probably going to likely try and throw him in either that shooting guard spot or the small forward spot. Shooting guard could make some sense. I mean, shooting guard as a whole is not super strong today. You could put Simons at shooting guard. That's actually kind of nice. I didn't realize you could throw him in that spot. So maybe that's where I put Simons. And then I put Powell at that small forward. So I'm still able to grab some of those good guards that we're about to talk about here. The other guards I want to really discuss for sure are Terrence Mann, who's shooting guard eligible at 4.8. I love his upside. And in this lineup, I think he could have a really, really strong game. And then I think, like I said, Powell, Mann, and Reggie Jackson are the three guys you're going to want to key in on the Clippers side of the ball. I know Amir Coffey's kind of popping a bit at 3.6. I think it's more so because of the price tag, but I do worry about him a little bit. This is one of those guys that could get less minutes than you would expect. What are the minutes you're expecting on Amir Coffey spread? Because I'm not totally buying it. When you start Zubac, Morris, Powell, Jackson, and Mann, and I know Ty Lue can do some goofy stuff, but they could easily throw Batum in there. They could throw Covington. And I just think Coffey could lose run more than some of these other guys, but what he could do for your full lineup could be valuable. Do you guys have any Amir Coffey takes?
I think my personal take with these Clipper guys, the only one I really want is Winslow. Looking at the minutes log, he's the only one that holds a solid minutes log, and there really aren't many wings for the Clippers to rotate in and out.
Well, Winslow's on Portland. You're talking about you mean Powell, right?
Yeah, Powell. Yeah, I had them mixed up. Yeah, Powell. That name's mixed up there, but yeah, Powell. Yeah.
Well, even you can make arguments Reggie loses run, right? And
there's a lot of guards there, and he plays the hot hands with those. And even Zubac, when you look at his minutes, that game was his only game recently where he cleared 30 minutes. Are you really crossing your fingers that he's gonna get 30 minutes here? Nurkic could draw a couple fouls on him. They go small. Covington comes in, hits a couple threes. Now all of a sudden the game's different. So it can get weird, and he can only see 20 minutes to where you get screwed there.
Yeah, Powell's definitely the safest. it sounds dumb. They could put Powell at the 5, right? I mean, not saying they would, but like they could, but they wouldn't though. They'd put like Covington there instead, or they'd put Marcus Morris before him. So, but Powell could play like the 1, 2, the 3, and the 4, like pretty much secure, and just like it could be like that fast-paced up and down basketball.
And Moses Brown take or no?
No, you can't. I mean, it's the most. Isn't it a Moses Brown revenge game? Is that all we got going for us here? I'm trying to think.
I think.
I don't think he was on Portland, was he?
I think he played here last year when they were just in shambles at the end of the year.
Yeah, I'm okay to. I'm gonna look it up now. I'm okay to take a stand that I'm right on this spread.
I think he is right.
I mean, when it comes to revenge,
2020, his rookie year, it was his first year in the league. Look at that memory bank there, spread. Moses
there
Brown.
you go. Yeah,
9 games played for the Portland Trailblazers in 2019 to 2020. That was pre-COVID, so there we go. Yeah, I do think no Moses Brown for me. I'm good. The reason why, like on 3-game slates, sometimes you can make up these values, but the problem is there's just too many good values where you can't like mess around with that. So they're playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm gonna count this count. 2, 4, 6, 8. They have 9 bodies, and one of the bodies is Moses Brown. So like it's going to be an 8-man rotation tonight. You're going to want to play these Clippers and Blazers. I'm noticing a lot of teams go like 6 of these guys from this game. I don't mind trying to go 5, or maybe like 4 is not the worst idea to check out, but I think 5 is the better number. And when I kind of look at some of the teams, at least right now at this hour, I notice a lot of them, they go like 2, and they go like 4 Clippers and 2 Blazers. Like, what about going like 4 Clippers and 1 Blazer, or going like 3 and 2? Like, I don't think that's a bad route to go. I think the Clippers value is better. And you can make the case like there are routes where like Nurkic and Grant don't get there because they're price tags, right? Like it's just like they're more priced up options. And I'm definitely looking, like I said, I'm looking at the Anthony Simons, playing him, maybe playing him and Justice Winslow and grabbing the 2 ball handlers. And then like
I like that.
And then playing 3 of these Clippers. Like just play Man, Powell, and then one more option. And I think it could be like a really nice setup for your lineups. And I still think you'll have enough like flexibility where you won't be restricted at the guard position that much. I still think you'll be able to get in the guys that you want to, because you'll have Winslow in at one of those forward spots. And like another thing you could do too, if like you're really dying for getting in like some extra Clippers, and like because I'm talking about Simons a little bit here, like if you're playing like Simons or Brunson, you're going to lose some guard spots. Like there are some of these Clippers that have the flexibility to go in at the center spot. So I want to pull it up real quick. So the guys that put at the center are Covington and Batum. And there is some value in saying I could slide Covington at that center spot at 3.2K, while a lot of people's constructions are spending on Yusuf Nurkic, right? They're spending on all these other centers. They're going to maybe Mitchell Robinson. Let's say they're plugging in. Let's see who else is being plugged in. Robinson, Nurkic. Then it's like Batum, and then it's Covington. Like there's some merit in just full punting the position instead, and it's just giving you a little bit of a different construction for sure. Especially if it's leverage off of Nick Batum. But who wants to fade Nick Batum and Robert Covington in revenge game spread? I mean, this is double revenge. Maybe you just get them both in your lineups then.
All right, you got plenty of revenge.
We didn't touch much. Just to go back to the Detroit game real quick, because it's the center position. We talked about Duran a little bit being the cheap guy.
Yeah.
On DraftKings, it says Stewart's questionable. He's probable on Basketball Monster. He's going to play tonight. The last time out against the Knicks, he put up 30-plus fantasy points. He's 5'5". He should see the minutes tonight with all these guys out for Detroit. He could easily slide in that center spot. What do you think about that?
You're right. He's definitely not a bad option. He's not going to project that well right now, probably. I mean, let me look and see what I have on my end.
In 29 minutes last time against the Knicks, he put up 13, 8, 3, and 2.
Yeah, I definitely don't mind it. It's something I'll definitely look at, especially if, what if Bagley's out, right? I mean, if Bagley's out, that's even better for Stu, because yes, if Bagley's in, you'd be like, well, it doesn't matter. Bagley's going to be like the backup center, you'd assume, right? But you can make the argument that if Bagley's not there, Duran is not just going to randomly get 25 to 30 minutes. That actually secures Stewart's minutes even more.
Yep.
Because if you look at what Durant has done at the center position minute-wise, he doesn't really eclipse over 20 minutes that much. I guess against Utah he did in Denver. So maybe I'm wrong there. I was trying to think back. When was that?
Now, is that because of coaching or foul trouble? Because a lot of times when I watch him, he picks up fouls really easily. And
I want to look at
a rookie center getting into foul trouble. I mean, that's not.
And Julius Randle would tear him up down low with fouls.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I want to look at that deeper though. I definitely could be wrong, but I thought he just doesn't get that. I'm shocked he played the 27. So I want to see why. I'll dig deeper in that when I go on the show later and try and talk about that a little bit. But
and the other Clipper I wanted to talk about, I know you already touched on all of them. The other one I definitely want to plug in is Marcus Morris, because you just look at the way Portland's built too. Like their wings aren't all that aggressive. They're not physical defenders. He's going to go right at those guys. He's going to be option 1 or 2 on offense. If he gets hot from 3, he could easily tear this team up.
Yeah, I mean, the Marcus Morris idea, he is a guy that's willing to chuck the ball, which I like when my guys are willing to shoot. I think the thing what's his price? Is it 5'4"? I think
5'8".
it is 5'8". So like that starts to get into the range where sometimes I think a little bit about it and I'm like, there are routes where you can fail at 5'8", right? Like that is one of the arguments against. I'm not saying I think he's a bad play, but that is sometimes how I think about some of these options. And like, I think there are routes where he kind of can get squeezed out more than you'd realize. So I'm thinking I like him as a play, but I am thinking a little bit more about him. Like the guys that I feel very like the 2 guys I have like the confidence in that don't really hurt me are Powell and Mann. Like I think those dudes are playing regardless. Like I don't think Mann's getting squeezed out. I don't think Powell's getting squeezed out. I think those 2 guys are going to crush. I mean, I assume they both start too, right? I mean, Powell, I know he's came off the bench, but the starting lineup should be Zubac, Morris, Jackson, Mann, Powell. That would be my assumption. And
didn't they start Coffee last game though? Didn't they get weird? Or was somebody out?
They could, and they could even throw Batum in there, right? They could throw Batum as a starter. But I don't know. I'd rather just bring those Batum and Covington off the bench, and you keep Coffee off the bench because you like his handling, and you kind of pull off. You either pull Norm off first, or you pull off Terrence Mann. Also, isn't this a Norman Powell revenge game too?
They traded with each other last year.
He wasn't there that long. I got to call it out at least, right? I feel like I've done a great job on catching all the revenge games. I got to say them at least.
This is just Revenge City in this last game.
Did I not? I got to make sure I didn't mess up on the Portland side. Is there any revenge I missed there? Spread was any of these guys have a cup of coffee? Like I don't know. Trenton Walford, did he somehow play for the Clippers at one time? I don't know.
No, I don't think he did.
I don't think so either.
He probably didn't, but I'm just messing around. Obviously, we got some time to kill for sure on this show right now because we only got 3 games. But this is the game to play. I mean, one thing I'm definitely, like I said, I'm gonna key in on a little bit is like the max I'm gonna play of this game is 5. I think 5 is the number I'm gonna shoot for at least right now. If I do play 6, I'm gonna really figure out how to be different with the 6, and one of them could be playing like Simons, right? And it could be maybe it's going to Portland where it's Simons and going Winslow and fading like Grant and Nurkic and then like loading up on 4 Clippers. That could work too. But this game can't be ignored. Like there's reasons to get contrarian sometimes and be like, hey, you can get away with this fade. But the reason you can get away with the fade is the alternatives. And like there's not alternatives that are this good of values today. And there's not an alternative that's a 9-man rotation. Like the reason you could get away with not playing as much Charlotte yesterday was because we got news that those Pelicans were out, right? Once we got news those Pelicans were out, instead of that being like the 9-man rotation that they had or 8-man rotation, I forget what it was, you could make an argument that some of these Pelicans could be better value plays. We just don't have that on that slate. We could have that with Detroit. If you get Bogdanovich, Smith, and some of these other guys, it could become interesting, but we got to wait and see with that. And I can't do anything about that right now. I just got to sit and wait until we kind of get closer to lock.
One thing, and then it really doesn't have a lot to do with DFS, but I just thought it was interesting, and I wonder if Ty Lue will ever change this. The team's net rating with Reggie Jackson and John Wall, both of them on the floor, they're at the same time, or usually they're separate. It's been absolutely terrible. I wonder how long that he continues to run those guys out there. It feels like the team does better, and I know that Reggie Jackson was key in that playoff run a couple years ago, but he's so hit or miss. And if he's not hitting shots, he really hurts the team.
Aren't a lot of
in
these
ways.
Clippers guys hit or miss though? Like Marcus Morris, Norm
Yeah.
Powell could go out there and shoot.
But the difference is Marcus Morris
gives
gives you defense and rebounding even if he's not making his shots.
Well, the other
what does Reggie Jackson give you if he's not making his shots?
Well, the other key with Reggie is a lot better when you have Paul George or Kawhi on the court because one, they can mask his defense, and two, it gives you a secondary guy to kick the ball to that you have to hedge on when he drives to the hoop or shoots that three. And it's one of those things that if we're just on real life basketball, not DFS, Reggie is much better with those guys. And yes, anyone's better. Like I'll play better next to Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, right? But it does unlock him a lot more and what he can do. And then in this situation, his defense just gets hindered so bad that it's like this just turns into a track meet. Just like no one playing defense, right? I mean, it's just simply what happens in these kind of style of games when it's these shorthanded rotations just running up and down the floor. And Anthony Simons in a track meet just running up and down the floor. Like, who's not signing up for that? Like, Tyler.
I love that call. I'm getting him in there.
Projections are wrong. That's fine. I'll take the stand. Projections are wrong on him. Now, the argument could be made. It's not just projections. It's positions a little bit. So, you don't want to necessarily force it too much. Like, for instance, let's say you're building your teams and you really want to play Anthony Simons. But, it's just, not working construction-wise. That's sometimes where I just abandon ship on the idea. I'm like, there's a reason why it's not working and it's not popping and I can't do it. It just doesn't make sense. It's like sometimes you're like, man, I really want to play a cheap quarterback in football, but I don't need to play a cheap quarterback. Do you want to know why?
How popular is going to be just game stacking this game, getting 5 guys from this game, one of Curry or Luka, Wood, and then a one-off from the Detroit game.
Well, that's everyone's lineup, but not the Wood thing. The Wood thing's not but everyone is think about it. Think about the exact construction. Everyone is going to play Portland and the Clippers, 5 to 6 guys with one of Curry or one of Luka because there's no other spends. So Tyler, what if you built a team that was Clippers and Portland and you didn't play Luka or Curry? That's different. I'm not saying that's what you should do, but that is
that's how you get different.
These are things you need to think about. Of how can I get different? Maybe it's getting different within your stack. Again, I'm not saying to fade them because I'm probably playing one of them, but my route will be trying to find a different route. And my different route right now is trying to play one of Luka or Curry, I think, with a Simons, just because I think Simons is the overlooked guy. And I haven't ran that much with it. When I just ran stuff right now and I look at it, the Simons teams that I see, and there's 4 that I kind of pop up for me. Only one of them actually goes Luka. The rest don't. So they go more balanced builds. So I don't know. I'm going to kind of look at this a little bit more later, but man, I think this team I'm staring at right now, I know is if it was locked right now, Tyler, that would be my team. It's done. I know that would be it. I just think he's I'm definitely a little bit of a Simons homer, but it just seems like too good of a spot for him. And he's that entire offense. And and what if Nurkic gets in foul trouble, which happens, it feels almost all the time. Well, then, this dude's going to have to even carry even more. So, and I love the idea sometimes just being hey, I can just go to this game and be I get both the ball handlers and Winslow and Simons. And I don't think Winslow would start here, right? Are they starting him for sure, Tyler, or not?
I don't think so. Let me go back and look at their most recent game. I don't think he starts.
I assume it's going to be Winslow. I assume it's going to be Nurkic, Grant, Simons, Hart.
They did start him.
He might start, actually. He probably does.
Yeah, they ran Simons, Hart, Winslow, Grant, Nurk, and then had Sharp as the first guy off the bench.
Are you on popcorn right now?
No, I just have their last game pulled up.
It's something I want to look at. We got a little bit of time. I can do it. Spread, I know you're hanging out. We're having a good time. Hit the like, right, Spread? Tell them to hit the like, subscribe. Do that while I'm pulling up popcorn.
All right. Yeah. Remember, this show is brought to you by runpuresports.com for all the best in daily fantasy and sports gambling information. Of course, we're here every day, Monday through Friday. All we ask is you hit the like button and also subscribe. You'll get notified when we go live. Travis, you're going to be going live later today, right? They're going to be notified when you're on the Hardwood show later today, right?
Yeah, you're gonna hear me say some of the same stuff, but we'll see. I know. Sorry, I'm moving a lot on the screen and everything, but I got the info for you.
I got to get this in here now before you get into that.
What?
I got to get some Mangone bucks this week. Let me get San Fran against your Miami team.
Oh, I'm in. Booked. Yeah, I'm definitely down. We better move them up in the power ratings, by the way. Let's keep moving them up.
I mean, how much higher you want them to go?
I want them hot. Yeah, we got time.
They just lost their best lineman.
I looked at
They
this.
can't be that high.
Wait, the Dolphins lost their best lineman? When did that happen?
Sunday.
That matters. How long is he out for?
They haven't said yet, but he didn't come back in that game, and I think it was a lower leg injury, so that could be long.
Hopefully he's back for the playoffs. That's all that matters. Well, you know what? They're gonna be moving up after this week. Do you know why they're gonna be moving up after this week?
They're gonna win, huh? Is that what you're gonna tell me?
They're gonna leap the Niners, baby. They're gonna just jump them to 4. So so this actually really I didn't realize, and I mean when you kind of like look at it, it makes a lot of sense. So this is the start. This is the starting 5 for Portland right now, and they're a 9-man rotation too. It's Grant, Simons, Nurkic, Winslow, and Hart. And dude, Winslow's rotations, by the way, these are nutty. So what they do is, again, go to Popcorn and look at it. So Simons is out there from the 12-minute mark to the 2:45 against the Nets. They bring Winslow from the 12-minute to the 5-minute mark. And then what do? Right when Simons comes out at the 2:45, who comes in? Justice Winslow. Plays to the 8:13. Who comes in? Simons. Then Winslow back at the 3:52. So they're doing the stagger with them ball handling wise. And look at the bench guys. The bench guys are Watford, 14.5 minutes. Shadon Sharp, 14.9 minutes. Drew Eubanks, 14.3, which Eubanks is not going to affect the ball handlers. He's going to affect Nurkic directly, and that is it. So Little, Shadon Sharp, and Watford, none of those guys can affect Winslow and Simons. Also, Tyler, I'll ask you this. Name me the guards that play for the Portland Trailblazers. The guards. Are there any guards besides Simons?
No, I mean, unless you categorize Shadon Sharp as a guard, there is no other guy.
Correct. And can Winslow play the 1? Yes, but he's more a point forward, and you can do it. But the minutes are just, it's 40 minutes for him. Like, it just is. And like,
what if I told you his assist prop is 3.5?
What? No way. I mean, he does shoot a lot.
I swear to God, it's 3.5 minus 130 on FanDuel. He's had 6 assists, 4 assists, 6 assists. So he's hit it his last 3 games. He's gonna get the minutes. Yeah. He is the ball handler behind Simons, like you said. I think that's an auto bet.
Yeah, I'm in. I'm logging onto the book now. I'm gonna make a wager on Simons.
So I gotta bet this now before you drive the number up.
Oh, you do it at the same time. I'm making my way. We don't have too much time left because I do have to be out of here a little shortly. And I have to, even though I'm not watching soccer, I made one team for it, so I got to get that adjusted as well. I got guys out in my lineup, so I'm going to jump in the Discord. I'm going to jump on the playbook, and I know nothing about soccer, but I'm going to read it and just get the winners in there. So let's see. Where is this? Simons? I got 5.5 on FanDuel.
No, Winslow.
Oh, Winslow. I thought you said Simons. Okay. Yeah, Winslow. Oh, yeah, I'm in. Let's do that. That's fine. Winslow's good too. I mean,
our guy Josh says that the Winslow leads the team in assist chances.
Yeah, they give me that over.
That's even better.
Then.
Good call,
yeah,
Josh.
He says it's 9 per game. He says he thinks it's not, confirmed, but 9 per game.
I'll get those numbers.
Speaking of Lillard, how long is he out for, Tyler? Do you know?
Let me look. It just says calf. I think it was the calf strain again. So my guess is 2 to 3 weeks again, and then they try and run him again. I think they should just give him a month. Give him a month off and then just let him come back. It's not like they can't withstand his injury. Like Simons could take all that usage. Winslow could just take Simon's spot. They could just run that for the next month.
All right.
That's my opinion, but I think that he'll be back in a few weeks.
All right. There you have it.
Hopefully get some head-to-head props. I don't think there's any with Simons that he could go against, but it would be fun. I looked at the head-to-head props before the show. There's nothing good. So.
There's nothing good.
I mean, right now there really isn't anything. I mean, I saw one that was like okay, but it was like you had to take Luka at minus. It was like Luka and Draymond rebounds, and it was like Luka was minus 200, and I didn't hate it, but like again, I don't want to bet him. I'm not like huge on betting minus 200s. You know what I mean? Like, but
all right. Well, there you have it. There's a pretty in-depth breakdown, and of course, if you want to hear it again, you'll be on the Hardwood Show, and you'll probably get some pushback from some of those guys, right? On some of the takes, right, Travis?
I hope so. I like when they're against me. It's not bad. Like that means I'm getting a little bit different, right? I mean, you don't want to just be armored on with everyone all the time. You need to have a little bit of different takes at times. So
I mean, you'd have to lay minus 200 on this one, man, going. But I think this is as close to a lock as you can get. Luka to out assist Draymond minus 200. He should definitely be able to do that.
I can look at it real quick on my end just to see. I mean, I'm sure I saw some of those. I mean, again, like I think you can lay minus 200 at times. It's obviously not like an amazing thing to do. So projection wise, I got Luka at 8.5 assists, and then let's see, Draymond's at 6.5. So like the rebounds, I have Luka at 9.13, and then I have Draymond at 6.21. Isn't there a rebound one where it's minus 200?
His rebound one is he's minus 360 in the rebounds.
Oh, okay. Then maybe I read it wrong. So the assist one is okay. That's why I thought it was rebound. I think the assist one is then the minus 200, which that one's good too, I think.
All right. So there you have it. But we're not done yet. It is time for the best bets. Tyler, let's start with you. Best bet for today, side total or prop.
I'm going with that Winslow over 3.5 assists. I think we found a gem there. I think that cashes pretty easily tonight.
All right. Winslow over 3.5 assists. Let me see if they have that on Bookmaker right now. Travis, what do you like today? What's your best bet for today, side total or prop?
Sorry, I'm like getting this soccer thing done. I'm very distracted. My best bet. I felt like I had one earlier and I'm like tilted. I can't remember. I was like, I don't know what it is now, and I'm not happy about it. Let's see. Spread, you go first because I felt like I had one. And I'm blanking on it right now.
Wait, what was the number you gave out there?
3.5 assists on Justice Winslow.
It's at 5.5. Oh wait, no, that's rebounds. Okay, cool.
Actually,
I have to play minus 140 though. What did you get?
Minus 130. The best number I see is minus 124.
I got my bet spread. We're going with and I was on a nice streak, and of course I talked about it, and then I lost. So what can we do? Sabonis did not get the job done at our great bet, but I'll go with Anthony Simons. I talked him up so much, right? You just got to say over 23.5 points. I got him projected at 25 in some spots, so I think it's a pretty good bet. I like it there. I believe the number I'm seeing, and you shop this around. FanDuel has minus 113. Maybe you can find better at other books, but
you think they win the game?
What?
You think they win the game?
Ooh, good question. What's the
reason I'm asking is because they have that performance double. Him to score 25 plus and they win is plus 215. Do a little better price on that.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I'm trying to think if I want to take the chance on it. I mean, I'm not a big believer in this Clippers team, but they'll yeah, I might like that a little bit more. I mean, I don't even hate betting both. Like
because then if he gets it over and then they lose the game late, you're all right. You still make some money.
I'm gonna look at it a little more when I get off the show because I haven't made the bet yet, but I like this one. I definitely think it's a good one to go for. What is I'm assuming the Blazers, because they're home, I assume they're favorites. They're 3.5.
3.5. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that 250. I definitely don't mind it there. You could even try and do some of those like single game parlays where you like alt the points and maybe make it even a little bit lower and like get better lines on Portland side just in case. But like kind of some of the stuff JJ does. Like I haven't done enough of those, and I really need to.
Those are like a cheat code.
I know.
I was messaging him like that yesterday. I was like, "You found the cheat code for this."
Yeah, I need to start looking at those. I'm gonna look at them maybe I'll just start posting them in the NBA. Tyler, we'll try and like. It sounds like you like them too. We'll try and like maybe I'll DM you guys about it and see if we can talk about them because I think they're really cool and they're good bets. So
we can get Winslow up to 6+ assists plus 320 on FanDuel and those extra where you can bump them up.
Oh yeah, that's not bad.
And he's hit that number 2 of his last 3, so I don't hate sprinkling on that.
No, I mean that's definitely not bad at all.
All right. For my best bet, Tyler, maybe this is just proof, right, that I'm under the weather and not feeling like myself. But I'm going to take the Dallas Mavericks. I'm going to fade the Warriors.
It's a curveball.
Yeah, but the Warriors on the road have just been so bad, and so I just like Dallas here to go ahead and get it done. I think the Warriors right now are fairly simple for me. I'm going to go ahead and lay it at home, and I'm going to fade them on the road. So give me the Dallas Mavericks and Luka Doncic to get it done. And hopefully this pick will convince Glaucoma to make his return to the NBA rundown. So, hey.
Travis, you want to give him a core for the show?
Oh, a core. Yeah, let's do that. I like that.
We could all give him one guy.
What?
We could all give him one guy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm giving Simons, I guess, right?
Well, I knew where you were going.
I'm definitely giving Simons. So
who do you got spread?
I'm pretty married to him today.
That's a good question. You go first. Let me pull it back up.
I'm going out on a limb. Give me Isaiah Stewart. I think he gets a ton of minutes in that Detroit front court, and I think he beats up on the Knicks.
Okay, Isaiah Stewart. Come on. Let's pull it up.
I think it's a good call, Tyler. I mean, it's not. I don't think about those situations until the news hits. I'm always I don't care. Let's just wait. Because
and Robinson's back to who's a foul machine. Stewart's physical down low. He could easily be on the free throw line a ton.
Yeah, Isaiah Stewart's down to get physical too, right? He was chasing down LeBron. So.
Yeah, he was ready to fight.
Yeah.
What if I go for another one from that game? I know we weren't hype on that game, but I think Jalen Brunson has a huge night against this terrible Detroit Pistons defense. At 7,700, is that too much there for Brunson? He was the one that really stood out to me.
Oh,
what do you think, Brunson?
Yeah, for what it's worth, if you do that with our core, you're not getting Luka or Curry. Just calling it out, which is fine, but I'm just calling it out. Again, I don't care. You do you spread, but you will not be able to afford that. It's very difficult.
So are you giving out him, or are you going to one of the big guys spread? Because that's where you'd have to go.
I mean, you're just not able to. It's just maybe you are, but you have guys that are just gonna bury your lineup and it won't be a good team. So.
In that case, give me Norm Powell.
There we go. Norm Powell it is.
All right. So there you have it. That's the NBA rundown. Sorry, a little muted performance for me here. Fighting off. Got a little COVID, so that's not fun. But we're still here every day. Still got the NBA playbook done, and we're still going to be giving out the winners. We'll be back tomorrow at this very same time because we're back picking winners next week, right? I mean tomorrow, right, Travis?
We are. We'll be back talking about that. I get to have a face-off with you, talking about my Miami Dolphins, hopefully.
Take some of his money, too, spread. Sanford's getting the W. You got to back your boy Jimmy G here. You have to.
Of course I will. Yeah. So we'll have fun with that. But, of course, before picking winners at 2 p.m. Eastern, Tyler and I will be on with Chris Randone, who made an excellent debut last week, and we're really excited to have him back. So, things keep getting better here at Run Pure Sports, so make sure you join the team over at runpuresports.com, the best in daily fantasy and sports gambling information. Travis, words of wisdom for the people before we sign off.
Yeah, check out all the content that we have. Spencer asked who my soccer captain is. It is Pulisic. I left $1,000 on the table. It's a USA onslaught. I will not watch any of the game. I got something to do right now, and I will not watch any of the game, but I'll be rooting them on. Woo.
All right, there you have it. USA, run pure.